Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have been on a Stellar Lumens XLM crusade to hopefully show you guys that Stellar Lumens is the real dark horse when it comes to this cryptocurrency market. And actually what a advisor to Vladimir Putin, Mr. Kobyakov, said recently, I think really confirms my belief that Stellar Lumens is exceptionally well positioned to essentially enable this digital transformation. What was said by the Russian individual was that the United States is essentially going to cause a kind of financial reset akin to what took place in the 1930s or the 1970s with your prior Bretton Woods or the Nixon shock. You're going to get a similar thing take place today where the financial system, or in the near horizon, where the financial system is going to change. And they're going to use cryptocurrencies to do that. And it's not just this Russian individual that's saying this. It's also the likes of the United States themselves. And stablecoins are a massive part of that plan. Also, the kind of use of treasuries to back the stablecoins. And when it comes to stablecoins, Stellar Lumens is perhaps one of the best positioned distributed ledgers, which we're going to be showing you in this video, to essentially enable the future monetary world that we're moving towards, which is one where the rails upon which money moves is the likes of something like Stellar Lumens or distributed ledger technology. So we've done a lot in regards to talking about how Stellar Lumens is very perfectly positioned, in fact, working with the likes of DTCC and favorited by them to essentially enable the tokenization of real-world assets. It has features that are very beneficial. One of the last things we highlighted was a LinkedIn post from DTCC where they said, mark your calendars, Nadine Chakar will reveal how big regional and boutique institutions are making blockchain in banking work at Meridian 2025 on September the 17th in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, hosted by the Stellar Development Foundation. The theme for this year's highly touted conference is the blueprint, which will delve into the Stellar ecosystem that is transforming industries and settling standards. We know that DTCC are likely going to use Stellar Lumens. We've shown you lots of documents on it, and that's for the tokenization of assets. What we're looking at in this one, though, however, is how they're uniquely positioned to enable the United States and a new kind of global banking agenda, which sees stablecoins at the bedrock of it. Stellar, in terms of their coverage, based on the partnerships that we're going to explore, already potentially have access to billions of people. I mean, if you look at Visa, that recently partnered with Stellar, they have 4.7 billion cards out there, credit and debit. If you look at the likes of MasterCard, the numbers are estimated at around about 3 billion cards. If you look at MoneyGram, of which Stellar Development Foundation own a portion of, and Danielle Dixon is on the board of, they have 50 million annual users. And if you look at something like PayPal, they've nearly got 500 million in terms of users. And these are just a few of the partnerships that Lumens has in regards to stablecoins. And then to mention Circle, to also mention that the second part of stablecoins is what they're backed by, which is treasuries. And Lumens is also, according to Real World Asset, the second largest kind of producer or holder of US treasuries in regards to tokenizing them. And they did that with Franklin Templeton. They were very early on it. So, lot to get into, guys. We'll try and speed through it all. We've got lots of clips to play. Let's kick things off with what the individual from Russia, Kobyakov, actually has to say in regards to what the US is doing right now. We'll look at the US saying this themselves, and then we'll get into how Stellar's probably the best positioned blockchain to actually enable all of this. He says the US is now trying to rewrite the rules of the gold and cryptocurrency markets. Remember the size of their debt, $35 trillion. These two sectors, crypto and gold, are especially alternatives to the traditional global currency system. Washington's actions in this area clearly highlight one of its main goals: to urgently address the declining trust in the US dollar. As in the 1930s and 1970s, the US plans to solve its financial problems at the world's expense. This time by pushing everyone into the crypto cloud. Over time, once part of the US national debt is placed into stablecoins, Washington will devalue that debt. Put simply, they have $35 trillion currency debt. They'll move it into the crypto cloud, devalue it, and start from scratch. That's the reality for those who are so enthusiastic about crypto. And we agree that that is their agenda. We think they're going to cause a global reset. We've done other videos on this where we've actually looked at Bitcoin's introduction to us in 2008, the dollar's channel that it's been in since then, its upward channel. It's about to break down from that at a time when crypto is about to take hold. That's for another video. But this is the agenda. Let's listen to Scott Besson actually confirm this himself. And then we'll show you how Stellar Lumens XLM is going to be one of the real winners given its positioning right now in regards to this future.
And we are going to put a lot of thought into the stablecoin regime. And as President Trump has directed, we are going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stablecoins to do that.
Well, what you're referring to is the Genius Act. The Senate's passed it. It's now with the House. President Trump, myself, much of the Senate leadership and many in the House are encouraging them to pass the Senate bill as is. I think we could have that also done by mid-July. And I think stable coins create an exciting new payment rail. And importantly, it will be a source of demand for the U.S. Treasury market. Because if you think about it, in terms of preference globally, would you rather have a private stablecoin that's backed by U.S. Treasuries with U.S. best practices regulation, or would you rather have an ECB or a PBOC, central bank digital currency, that if you write a meme, the ex post, the government can turn off?
And alas, here we are. They're two older clips that I've played kind of probably at different points throughout maybe daily market updates and things, but Russia very much outing the United States for what they're doing. I'm going to show you. And you can't blame them for doing it, really, can you? I'm going to show you just how well positioned Stellar Lumens actually is. We know, and we'll go through a couple of big partnerships, and these partnerships ultimately give them exposure to be global in terms of the countries that the companies that they're partnered with operate in, but also have a mass effect in regards to the kind of user base that actually use these. Before I do that, not many people have seen this, but this is the stablecoin standard, the global industry body for stablecoins. I don't know how many of you have seen this. They've got some extremely big hitters on here. If we take a look at the About section and we look at the team, you'll see kind of Stellar's Chief Legal Officer here, Candice Kelly, Chief Legal Officer over at Stellar. You know, you've got the likes of Anchorage Digital on here. State Street, which, talking about Nadine Shakar, she actually came over from State Street. I do think there's a link between Stellar Lumens and State Street. There is, of course, one here in regards to them both being advisors. You can see some of the other sort of giants that you have in regards to this. And if we actually look at the ecosystem, members and partners, gold, we have Anchorage Digital, we have Axelar, Bank Frick, we have JST Digital, Stellar, and of course State Street. And silver members include the likes of Solana, Chainlink, bronze, you've got the likes of Aptos, so on and so forth, and then issuers, so on and so forth. So an interesting sort of connection in regards to Stellar Lumens and stable coins. Let us not forget that in terms of the $7.4 billion, there are essentially in treasuries just shy of $30 trillion that can be tokenized. We're only at 7.4. That's the real opportunity here for the space as a whole. Stellar Lumens, many people don't know this, is the second in regards to tokenized treasuries. Obviously, I think that's largely led by Benji and what Franklin Templeton are doing. But there's the duality there. There's the debt side that they're taking care of. Also, the sort of pushing out to the masses of stablecoins. I'm going to look at how they're doing that. This was a recent announcement. This is from June the 11th, 2025. PayPal USD, PYUSD plans to use Stellar for new use cases. And what I want to do is I don't want to read this, just show you this as an announcement. I actually want to dive over to an individual from PayPal talking about why they're using Stellar. Let's run this.
So hi, I'm Ian Burrell, and I'm a Senior Director for PayPal. I manage PayPal's crypto engineering team. PYUSD is a stable coin. It is backed by the US dollar. 1 PYUSD is $1. 20 PYUSD is $20. All of your funds are kept in a bankruptcy remote account, which means all of your money is safe and secure. So what is exciting about PYUSD coming to Stellar is that Stellar is a fast, low-cost network, and it extends PYUSD's reach to 180 plus countries. When you look at traditional finance, it can take days and cost up to hundreds of dollars when you want to be sending money internationally. When you look at small businesses and medium businesses, they have razor-thin margins and a lot of challenges with their supply chain. By enabling merchants to use PYUSD on Stellar, they are able to send money in near real time, allowing for more efficient management of capital. Just really excited to see PYUSD go live on Stellar.
So PayPal's got roughly around about 500 million customers. They're now going to gain access to stable coins on the sort of rails of Stellar Lumens. This is a big deal. And I think just to highlight, we're talking about kind of global conquest of the dollar here, but actually through sort of adopting stablecoins, what you're going to do is entirely rejuvenate industry. If you think about how many transactions take place on the internet a day and the fees associated with that, you're talking billions of dollars a day. Stablecoins can fractionalize that and ultimately save companies and whoever it may be billions of dollars potentially daily. And that's what I think they're going to do. And that's why I think, one big reason why I think they're going to succeed, not just that they're part of this bigger kind of plan, as it were. But PayPal, obviously big users of Stellar. They've got around about 500 million customers worldwide. We had news just the other day that the largest card provider, credit and debit, Visa, has now expanded their support for Stellar. Visa expands stablecoin settlement support. You can see here, this is officially from Visa. The stablecoin ecosystem is expanding and Visa is at the forefront of its development. As global interest in stablecoins takes center stage, Visa is building on its leadership in the space and enabling support for more stablecoins and more blockchains to facilitate settlement transactions for issuers and acquirers. Visa's settlement platform is adding support for 2 additional USD-backed stablecoins, 2 blockchains, and the Euro-backed EURC, which Stellar, of course, enable. Stellar and Circle are big partners. We'll explore that in just a second. What's new? More stablecoins through the new partnership with Paxos, a Founders Fund and Teal-backed company, by the way. Also, Stripe was one, and Stripe were the early investors in Stellar. I do think we'll see something coming out of that, even though Stripe looking to develop their own layer 1. Visa will be able to support 2 additional dollar-backed stablecoins, the global dollar, USDG, and PayPal's USD, bringing the transformative power of more trusted stablecoins to our partners. More chains. Visa has added support for 2 blockchains, Stellar and Avalanche, in addition to already supported chains Ethereum and Solana. It's a very small selection, and of course, they're also adding the Euro EURC, which of course we know Stellar is on. Let's listen to what the CEO of Visa has to say about stablecoins, and then we'll show you an earlier partnership from 2021 that involved Tala and Visa and the Stellar Lumens blockchain in support with Circle.
We've been embracing and building for years, preparing for this moment. The Genius Act has now passed the Senate, as you know, and is expected to pass the House. I think that'll give regulatory clarity to stablecoins. And we've been embracing stablecoins. We've been enabling people to issue Visa credentials on top of stablecoins. We've been modernizing our own settlement infrastructure with stablecoins. And we have a whole host of innovations that we plan to deploy around the world embracing stablecoins.
Do you believe then stablecoins are going to be a significant way that people transact in the future?
Hey, David, we think there's product market fit for stablecoins in 3 areas. The first is the capital markets use case, and you've seen that with crypto trading, and that's true globally, here in the US and around the world. But the product market fit that's most interesting going forward is outside the US, and there's 2 areas. The first is countries where you've got high currency volatility or currency controls, where people really want to have access to US dollars, and they either can't get US dollars or it's very expensive to do that. Stable coins provide an opportunity for people in those countries, maybe there's 30, 40, 50 of those countries around the world, to have easy, cost-efficient access to US dollars, and we'll plan to give them Visa credentials on top of those stable coins that they can spend in merchants around their country or other places. The second area of product market fit is cross-border. And that can be remittances, person to person, or business to business transactions. And in both of those areas, those are additive opportunities for Visa, and we're embracing stablecoins and building and innovating on top of them to provide new use cases in those areas.
Right.
I think there's a little confusion because most stablecoins are US dollar denominated, people immediately think about use cases in the United States, when I think most people who studied this and are active in this really understand that the product market fit is outside the US.
The Russian guys must have studied it and seemed to know what he was talking about, you know, and this is all part of the plan. Tala and Visa have partnered on solutions for underbanked, supported by Circle and, of course, Stellar. And we know that there's an amazing relationship. This goes all the way back to 2021. We know there's a great relationship between Circle and Stellar. We'll talk about that in just a second. Stellar joins the MasterCard crypto credentials ecosystem to unlock verified interactions across public blockchains. This is pretty huge. This was at Meridian 2024 in London. The Stellar Development Foundation invests in MoneyGram. Now, MoneyGram are one of the preferred methods that people use to send money all over the world. You know, it says the Stellar Development Foundation's journey with MoneyGram International, MGI, officially began when we established a commercial partnership back in 2021. But that was not the beginning. No, before 2021, we had been in close collaboration, having recognized how well suited and aligned our organizations were. In 2019, we started building the tools that ultimately became MoneyGram's ramps, which launched literally last year. And just 2 years after the commercial agreement began, our work together has made Stellar's network the leader of cash to crypto on and off ramps, providing easy, accessible ways for people to get value both into and out of the digital economy. It was through this partnership that we gained insight into the company's operations, collaborated closely with its team, and became familiar with their plans for the future. We were impressed. MoneyGram's vision for its digital transformation and execution capabilities gave us confidence that if an opportunity to take a more active role in MGI's future arose, we would take it. And they have indeed done that. MoneyGram is all over the place. Let's listen to this clip here very quickly of them talking about Stellar.
We're announcing our MoneyGram wallet. So for the first time, we're enabling USDC transfers through the MoneyGram network through a special app, which now basically enables, well, it's actually only live today in the United States, Brazil, and Mexico. But it's our first foray into really changing the paradigm around how money moves and giving consumers the ability to actually transfer USDC through the system, and then leveraging the Stellar access rails that we've created, enabling them to do cash in and cash out in markets around the world. So it's like super exciting.
Very interesting. MoneyGram in many countries, 50 million annual users. There's many things I could have shown you to kind of concrete Circle, which is the second largest stablecoin issuer, and sort of Stellar's relationship. This is probably a really good one. This is from the VP of Product Management, Rachel Mayer. She says, the bedrock of Circle's deep alliance with Stellar Development Foundation is our shared commitment to advancing financial inclusion and offering mobile-first, near-instant and low-cost payment solutions to people worldwide. What was the agenda that the Russian individual was calling the US out for at the start? You can see here we've got a number of videos. This is there's something going on with Salesforce, by the way. I'll talk to you guys about that maybe in a different video. The founder of Paxos as well. But Circle and Stellar have been working together for a hell of a long time. They've even been working with the likes of the United Nations to provide aid to people. Let's play this clip really quickly, and then I'm going to round things up and love and leave you. Hopefully at this point you're convinced of the way the world is moving and stablecoins' role in it. The fact that it's part of a broader plan and agenda, and the unique nature or the well-positioned nature of Stellar Lumens and XLM. Let's play this last clip, and then we're going to love and leave you.
The Stellar blockchain aid disbursement system is live, fully implemented by the UNHCR, who is delivering digital cash assistance to internally displaced people, IDPs, in Ukraine. Cash-based interventions serve as a lifeline to the world's most vulnerable populations. This need is only growing, most notably with the start of the war in Ukraine, causing some 7.8 million refugees to flee the country and 6.5 million to become displaced within the country, which pushed the number of forcibly displaced people globally to 103 million for the first time, the highest number of forcibly displaced people in history.
The solution is live, so that's good. It's fully integrated, and I'm also here wearing the financial hat. So I'm a finance professional. So we needed to ensure that this solution really meets our high criteria in traceability, accountability, making sure that we can actually report dollar by dollar. So we are confident today that the reporting tool is fully in place and we can deliver in an accountable way.
Should have implemented something like that here in the UK, because we've got no idea where a lot of money we've been sending overseas, not just in regards to that specific conflict, has gone, but more broadly. But hey ho, perhaps we were never supposed to know where that money went. Anyway, that's it from me. There's a clear agenda. Stellar Lumens is the future technology that finance is going to run on. It's one of them. There are going to be multiple. What we looked at there is the PayPal partnership. That's about 434 million users, active users. MoneyGram has 50 million users annually. That's worldwide. I think they're going to grow in terms of market share due to this technology. We've got the likes of Visa with 4.7 billion cards issued. Let's say that everyone has 3 cards. You're still looking at, well over 1 billion people, 1.5 billion people. Then you've got MasterCards with 3 billion cards issued. You're probably talking 1 billion people thereabouts for them also. So we're talking about Stellar's reach with the likes of also USDC as a stable coin as well, being towards a sort of 2 billion people mark. And I think now that switch has kind of been flipped, you're really going to see the floodgates open. You're going to start to see Stellar Lumens really excel and be a chosen one. It's very well positioned to do so and ultimately play a bigger role in this kind of global plan, as it were. That's it from me, guys. I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks, everyone, for watching. I'll see you in the next.